financial services industry stands at a unique crossroads, but great firms will find ways to take advantage of some of these changes. Joined today by Judd Bergman, the CEO of Envestnet, to talk about just that. Judd, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Judd, you just finished your keynote presentation here at the Envestnet Advisors Summit 2016 in Chicago, and you talked about some of the super trends impacting the industry. Tell me, what are some of those changes we should be expecting?
Well, there's a number of super trends. The first is the overall movement from commission-based compensation to fee-based compensation, but this is part of a broader super trend that practice patterns continue to evolve. You think about the value proposition of the typical broker of 30 years ago, buy the stock, pay me a commission, it will make you money. Think about how that's changed. By the turn of the last century, it was more about separately managed accounts and managed account programs with mutual fund wrap. And now we're seeing that the pattern is evolving towards more of a financial planning-centric, truly wealth management-centric process. And then the key of making that all work, we believe, is integrated technology. Integrated technology gives a productivity lift to advisors because there's a drain when you take disparate apps and try to pull them together.
Technology is important, but you guys have always believed that the person, the advisor, has to sit on kind of top of this pyramid and make all this technology work seamlessly.
Well, that's a very important point, and that's essential to our message. We think that this is a time for what we call Kasparov's principle to really come into the fore.
Now, Kasparov is the chess master, right?
Garry Kasparov, the great chess grandmaster, who actually lost to Deep Blue in a rematch back in the mid-90s, 1997. But after he retired from competitive chess, he went on to pioneer a new form of chess. Some people call it freestyle chess, some people call it advanced chess. But the idea was any grandmaster could enter, any supercomputer could enter, or you could also have teams of amateurs or average players. And in the first of those tournaments in 2005, something fascinating happened. The grandmasters, the best grandmaster didn't win, and the most powerful supercomputer didn't win. The team that won was 2 amateurs, 3 computers. And Kasparov pointed out that even average players, when combined with technology, dominated the results of either the supercomputer alone or the individual alone. And he discovered that what computers are good at isn't what humans are good at. And when the human, who's really good at creativity, strategic thinking, longer-term planning, when that's bolstered by the calculations, the brute force calculations, if you will, of a computer, then the human gets to do what they're really good at. And so we think that the paradigm, the winning model, is going to look a lot like Kasparov's freestyle chess.
And we're in the midst of this amazing digital disruption, like you're saying with Kasparov, where we need to kind of join forces with the computers a little bit. What are some of those digital disruption trends, and what should advisors be preparing for as they move into this next decade?
So one of the biggest challenges is what we call the digital divide.
Okay.
And we research both the consumer, the high net worth and affluent investor, as well as the advisor that serves those. And some of the findings we have is that certain segments of the high net worth and affluent market are embracing digital technology faster than their advisor counterparts.
That's amazing. I think there's always this thought that the only people embracing it are down market and the next generation. This sounds very interesting.
That's not what our findings are discovering.
Right.
So this digital divide is crossable. You look at some of the things that some of the digital advisors have brought to the table, and I think there's things that advisors would do well to thank them for. One of them is account opening ease. Another one is the power of data aggregation and how simplifying that does to a financial picture. A third is more transparency. But what we're discovering is that there's this hybrid model following Kasparov's principle, which is both digital technology with an advisor in the center. Now, our offering we call Advisor Now. It has an investor portal that has aggregated data, a document vault, very sophisticated GIPS compliant performance reporting, and basic financial planning apps like budgeting and net worth statements. Because to make this digital divide work, you need a push and a pull. You need the advisor saying, we need to do more using my branded website, hosted by a company like Envestnet, but branded for the advisor, and give more tools to the investor so that they can pull and the advisor can push, and together there can be a crossing of this digital divide.
And what's been the reception so far from advisors on this kind of platform?
Well, it's interesting. The early movers, if you will, the advanced
the pioneers,
adopters,
if you will,
the pioneers, have embraced this. There's a case of a multifamily office on the East Coast that had very high account minimums. They had a lot of demand from friends and family for lower account minimums, and so they brought out a digital offering. Now, it was the firm's own capital market assumptions, it was their portfolio construction, it was their asset allocation. They used our technology for rebalancing, but it was their rules that were then implemented by our technology. And they went from zero to about $2 billion in a very short time by lowering their account minimums from somewhere around 20 million, with some exceptions, to something around 250,000.
Wow.
And their average yield, in terms of basis points of the assets under management, actually went up a little bit. So we're finding some early adopters, and we think those success stories are going to create more of those.
Well, this is incredible, and I think advisors have a lot to learn about this hybrid model. And Judd, thank you so much for making some time. This has been great. This is awesome. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks for having us here at the Advisor Summit again.
Oh, it's great. We're big believers in investment news and what you stand for and how you're sort of pointing the way to a lot of new good things.
Thanks a lot, Judd. For Investment News, I'm Matt Ackman.